learned a good old from a water spout. What you would have said, I can't say. I never did ask, but you moved away. But I learned something from my blue-eyed girl. Sink or swim, you gotta give it a whirl. Life's a dance, you learn as you go.
15 degrees in Beaver Dam with clear skies. It is 9 minutes after 11 o'clock, and the following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of the Beaver Dam Unified School District, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands. We head to the Daily Dodge TV studio, and here is Wade Bates.
Thank you very much, Jeff Hall. This is Let's Talk with Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DiStefano. And Mr. DiStefano, it's been a while since we've been on the show together.
Yeah. We've kept the show rolling regardless, but it sounds like you had a couple months off. And your team covered you extremely well. They did a great job.
Where I was.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you might have had the sniffles one day, and then you had something.
Oh, I lost
important.
my voice. Yeah,
Yes.
last one. I literally
right.
could not speak for 2 weeks.
Yeah. And did you hear any complaints?
They thought the show was better. Probably ratings were soaring.
No. It's good to be back on with you.
As long as Dr. DiStefano's here, we have everything going on, right?
Sure. I can offer you a cough drop.
And when it comes to a lot of things in the Beaver Dam Unified School District, it's been a busy week because semester ends here tomorrow, right?
It does, yeah. First semester ends, so we've got, at the high school level, students are taking, we still do traditional final exam experience for our kids. We think that's a great way to keep them geared up, prepared, and focused. So they're working through that, and other schools, obviously, at the middle school and elementary level, they're also wrapping up their first semester. So for them, a lot of that time is also around assessment, not necessarily like high stakes, great impact as much, but more about getting those winter benchmarks and understanding where kids are at so we can continue to make adjustments to support their learning going forward.
So if you would happen to see a high school student, let's just say randomly at 10:30 in the morning
Sure.
at Starbucks,
Yeah.
they're not ditching. You have to call the dog catcher, right? Because they probably had a final exam and they had some time off before they had to go back.
Yeah, they run a final exam schedule, so there's a little bit more autonomy, and depending on the classes, they might have a little bit more flexible time. But you should, wish them well on their exam, but don't assume that they're skipping. That's a great call.
I went to UW Oshkosh, and we did not have traditional final exams there. At least when I was there in the 90s, you had it split into 3 parts each semester.
Sure.
And I never had a professor that went and said, okay, the last week of the year, here's your final exam. It was always at the last third part of the year, which is weird. Now all of a sudden you get people talking about in other universities where it's the final. I have to remember everything that I knew from either January or even from back in September.
Yeah.
So it's different. So my kids are working hard. I have 3 kids at the high school. They're working hard, hammering home their final grades, and they know what they want to get on the high honor roll. I got to finish, this.
There you go.
So again, it's one of those weeks where kids get to experience kind of like an upper level type of things.
Yeah, I think that's good, helping them prepare for their future. I mean, you think about even employment opportunities. There's high stakes realities with those.
Sure.
You might have, certain deadlines or a big thing coming up for, any company that you're working for, and how you're able to transfer that knowledge is always really, really important, either in school or in the workplace. Also a busy week, and I think just in general, I was a little bit nervous when I looked at the schedule for this week for our kids, just because of how many awesome things they continue to do. So again, one of the things I think that makes Beaver Dam Unified School District and our students so special is just the traditions and culture that they have. So, they typically have a blood drive this time of year again. So they had the blood drive this week during, the day before finals week. The Pasta with a Purpose and those contributions going towards the Jan Moser Children's Radiothon. That is also a really strong kind of culture and tradition that starts, and you've got all these student groups coming together, shared lift, positive experience, outreach, and giving for the community, and they're doing that, and that is tonight, which they have finals again tomorrow. So you see all these kids that are going to be out and about serving, as well as the kids behind the scenes. So that's great, and that helps them, I think, prioritize the importance of giving back, and it also helps them, schedule and balance and organize, because they've got to prioritize, okay, when are they going to study? When are they going to help, make the pasta? When are they going to help do the serving? And So we keep those things going, and you know what? We don't get complaints from the kids, and the staff is super supportive, and everybody loves doing that because they love to give back, and that's part of what Beaver Dam is about.
Yeah, 4:30 till 6:30 tonight in the Commons is Pasta with the Purpose, $12. You know, DECA, the FCCLA, the Beaver Dam FFA, HOSA, the Key Club, the National Honor Society, the National Technical Honor Society, Skills USA, and the Student Council all coming together. I know Wally and Ashley had a representative from, I think, every one of those organizations here for Hometown Today to kind of talk about how they contribute and what goes into that tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I remember my son's in DECA, but my middle daughter was more involved in some of the food prep. I remember making a run to get some of the materials and ingredients for some of that prep. And when she brought out the order sheet when we were at Costco for some of the supplies, I looked at that. I'm thinking, wow, it's a lot of food. But we went through it. It was great, good attendance. So please come out and support that. A great cause.
It is, but and get there early because I bet you Mike Tronson will get there about 5, and he'll probably take helpings for 10.
Sure. Yeah, and he should.
They serve a few hundred people for that thing, you know. It's a great event, and again, we appreciate being a part of it with the Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radio.
Yeah, absolutely. Our kids love it. Our staff loves it as well, and it's great to have the community out. Another great excuse for them to come out, and then after they fill up, they can watch our kids and. Our kids are performing at high levels and doing a lot of great things as well outside the classroom. That's always fun, and they love to see people show up, especially, they love the regulars.
Sure.
But they notice when, some new visitors come, they see that. That kind of elevates and amps up their experience.
It is. So, again, lots of stuff going on academically here across the district here as we made it halfway through, and then activities-wise, as you mentioned, the band and the choir, and there's a bunch of, I believe next week there's a few concerts and such going on as well that people can always check the website, the BDUSD website and the calendar, because those are always open to the public if you want to go and enjoy some great music and singing or band or things like that.
Yep, and a reminder too for our senior citizens in the community, we have that senior citizen pass opportunity. They can pick those up at the district office. They can also get those at the Watermark. That allows them free entry into any of those events, any extracurricular event that would that the district would be charging for. They get in free when they have their senior citizen pass, and all they have to do is bring their driver's license, and it's a minute or two process. The only thing that they don't is that the WIA unfortunately won't let us grant that at playoff, WIA sanctioned playoff events, but all of our other home events, concerts, otherwise. That senior citizen pass is great, and we want to thank our senior citizens for their continued support.
Speaking of senior citizens, well, I guess it's not just senior citizens, but I just thought of that because Sherry Sackett took advantage of this yesterday. She went and walked. There's
good. Yeah,
there's opportunities on Wednesday nights to walk in the field house, correct?
Yeah, it's great. People really do like it. And the colder it gets, we seem to get more attendance. But yeah, and call your friends, come on out there, use it. We're trying to work out to add a little bit more time to that. Our facilities are really used very, very heavily by the community. And then of course you have the actual formal sporting events and things like that. But we want to open that up a little bit more. One thing that'll help us justify doing that is seeing really good participation on a regular basis on those Wednesdays. But we'd like to add in a weekend day as well. Because we think that's a key asset for our community members.
It's going to be 5 degrees outside. If you can walk inside the field house, climate controlled, it's a great thing. With Mark DeStefano here from the Beaver Dam Unified School District. Mark, anything else academics or activities-wise before we can...
No, we're going to jump in. When we talk, we'll be at School of the Month in just a little bit, and we'll highlight a couple other things going on at the high school.
So I was driving, and I had been a while since I paid much attention, but I was driving down 151 in the last week or so, and I looked to the right, looking where the middle school project is. There's been a lot of activity over there, hasn't there?
Yeah, it's great. It's going really, really well. The focus there has been footings and foundations. And what's really been impressive, you think about the winter that we've had. I mean, we had a couple heavy snowfalls. We've had some up and down temperatures, but for the most part, we haven't lost much time from a construction standpoint. So we've been steady Eddie, and they're doing a great job getting all those foundations and footings poured. Our goal is to have all that in place before the spring, so that we can start building up, and those footings have a nice amount of time to really settle in. And we take that work very seriously. So we've got, some additional protocols in place to make sure that we're doing testing all the time with any of those foundations, any of the ground that we're building on. All that gets pressure tested. All the concrete gets tested before it goes in. While it's going in, after it goes in. We're making sure that foundation is stout and outstanding. and just can't thank that crew enough. One of the things that we did add to our project experience is we'll be doing a monthly kind of a drone flyover that maps out the progress. Because for some people, depending on where you're at, you're not going to get as good of a view. And I know people aren't. I know the sheriff's office wouldn't necessarily want people stopping on the off ramp to gawk per se. But once a month, we'll be putting together some drone footage, and we'll land that right on the facilities page that we have. Again, every month we do a look back, summary, and review of everything so people can see all the details and all the things that we've accomplished that month, where we're going, where our milestones are at, different budget impacts and realities that we're seeing with the project. We'll add that drone footage, and that's super cool to see. That I just got a preview of the latest on that, and we'll probably get that posted out by next week onto the website for people to check out, and you'll really get a kick out of what's going on with that middle school project. It's pretty awesome.
It's exciting stuff. Like I said, where it's at, like I said, you don't want to, Sheriff Dorton doesn't want you rubbernecking, but just as you casually drive by, people that commute that way, probably it's going to be kind of cool to see the project on a daily basis, once you get things going on how that project's working.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So the other thing that's going on behind the scenes specific to the middle school is we're going through that bid review process and awarding bids, and different scope and scale of the project have kind of a different bid sequence, right? So we've gone through and awarded bids for footings and foundations, some of the concrete work, earthwork and excavation, also some of those bigger MEPs, so like the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC mechanicals, things like that. Now we're starting to get into some of the interior bid reviews in those pieces, and right now the bids are continue to come in very competitive within our budget. And I know I've mentioned it before, that something that we're really passionate about is not just the finances of it. Obviously, the finances of it need to work, but we're really passionate about making sure that we're getting as much local presence and engagement from the workforce that we can. So one of the things that we do in our partnership with C.G. Schmidt is when people are submitting these bids, they're also submitting information about where their workforce is coming from, and what percentage of their workforce anticipated on the project is going to be local. So we want to be awarding bids that are within budget, competitive, well done, full scale. They're not missing anything. All those things, we need to check all those boxes. But then we also do weigh in and consider the amount of local workforce and impact, because we want as many people who are paying taxes, right, in our community that are working, getting the benefit of being able to work on a project that's close to home, and that they're going to have a direct value in contributing towards. So we're really excited about that effort that we're making.
So that's exciting part. But there are also other parts and other work being done in the district too. Can you kind of give us an update on that?
Sure. Washington Elementary. So we turned over the Commons coming off of the break. So their new Bulldog Commons is fully functional. Kids are using that. The kids love it.
Bulldog Commons?
Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Washington.
They're the Bulldogs?
Yeah.
How did I not know that?
Are you serious?
I was thinking they were like something else.
Yeah, the way you said it, you were like questioning.
Bulldogs?
I actually thought about that for a second. I'm like, no,
Bulldogs?
it's the Bulldog.
Yeah, because it's the Jefferson Jaguars, right?
Yep.
And it's the Prairie View Panthers. Lincoln Lightning. Okay.
Yeah, Washington Bulldogs.
Okay, I guess I never got that in the concept.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the worst thing in my life at my elementary school?
No.
So we never had a mascot at Pitch School in Wisconsin Rapids, PITSCH, named after a fine educator in our district.
Sure.
So they had a contest to get a mascot.
Yeah.
And at this point, our school is probably 70% girls and 30% boys. And
okay, so well behaved.
Yeah, exactly. But you had a bunch of these names like the Pioneers, the Prospectors. Yeah. You know what won? The Pitch Pandas. So then as we're playing sports teams, and it's like you're running out onto the court, 5th grade elementary school basketball. Here come the Pitch Pandas.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyways, sorry on the sidebar, but I like Bulldogs is a great name.
Yeah, not a really popular animal in the wild in the United States either. But good for you guys.
Okay, I'm just saying this thought because like the Bulldogs, the Lightning, the Panthers are great nicknames.
So there are Bulldogs in Wisconsin, so that's perfect. Good too. But they're privately owned.
Okay,
privately owned. So anyway, the Bulldog Commons is done. It is it's gorgeous. It works really well. It's great. It's not just used obviously for lunch, right? So breakfast is served there. The community's able to access that. That's a space that people can can elect to use. Rent, depending if it's a nonprofit, local entity too, when they're using our spaces, they're doing it at a very, very reduced cost. Oftentimes there isn't a cost associated with that. So we really encourage people to take advantage of that. It has the ability to project images. There's a microphone set up in there too, so it can be used for a lot of different things. Our Y-Care program uses that space as well. So that's done, and now since that part is done, now they're diving into taking what was the old cafeteria commons area, and that space is being recrafted, reimagined into art and music. So they got going on that. They already have all of the initial brick masonry done. So like you can already see the layout of that space. Obviously it's walled off, so there's no cross contamination, if you will, between workers and kids, things like that. So it's moving along. So we know that Washington opened up those new kindergarten rooms, right? And now we finished that commons. We're diving into that art and music, and then once school is out, it'll be full scale, the other renovations and updates. So very, very exciting. That's gonna turn out to be a really, really high level success on the project.
Okay, we're talking Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DeStefano. Or those are the two big things going on?
Two big things, yeah. So the other thing that we're kind of preparing for right now. So Lincoln and Prairie View have some site safety work, layout, traffic flow, et cetera, that we're going to be targeting this summer. There's a chance that a couple of those things might be the following summer. Some of it depends on the logistics, but our hope is to get as much of that done this summer as we can. And then from a playground standpoint, those fully accessible playgrounds, Lincoln and Washington are on the slate. So that'll match up really nicely with the Washington project, because our goal is to button Washington up completely by the end of this summer. And then Lincoln's also on the slate for the playground. So we'll look forward to that. And as we lock in more details and information, that'll become, again, part of the monthly project updates that we post publicly each month.
Perfect. The School of the Month.
School of the
Lots
Month.
of stuff going on. We talked about Pasta with a Purpose today. Beaver Dam High School is the January School of the Month, led by Principal John Casper.
Yeah, Johnny C. Mr. Casper is our principal, doing a great job. He's over there with Brittany Cashman. She's an associate principal. She also serves as our ELL, English Language Learner coordinator throughout the district. Jamie Dugan is over there as an associate principal. She's doing a great job. And then Ryan Gerber, self-proclaimed senior associate principal. He uses that term because he has the seniors as part of his caseload, but then of course he's activities and athletics director. So they're doing great work over there. Right now the high school is sitting around 1,000 students, so 988 to be exact. Really exciting. They just presented to the Board of Education as part of their School of the Month kind of update, showcase, as well as kind of accountability report regarding their school success plan. And in both ELA and math, we're seeing some really great growth this year. So when we look fall to winter, their growth is above the national average in all key areas of ELA and math, which is really exciting to see. So it's important that they keep that foot on the gas and make sure we're maximizing those outcomes, and we see that transfer towards other high stakes assessments later in the spring.
That's one of the things you really give credit to. When you really push to increase the academic rigor and where kids are at. It's a group effort. It's everybody.
Correct.
It's the teachers. It's the kids buying in. It's a support staff. It's the administration. Everybody saying, hey, let's strive to be the best and to get the most out of our education here in Beaver Dam.
Yeah, I mean, everybody pulling in the right, the same direction is what makes a difference. So having everybody on board, everybody's got different skills. Kids have different skills. Staff have different skills. But if people have, their eye on the right prize and they're focused and they're moving in the right direction, then we're going to see a better return. So I'm really proud of the leadership, the staff's response to that, and what staff's contributing, and our kids. Our kids in Beaver Dam, they're awesome, very, very respectful students. A lot of diversity in where people are coming from and what their realities are. But at the end of the day, when you're clear about your expectations and you're consistent, they're going to rise to the challenge, and we're really optimistic for what that's going to bring.
It is, and the facilities make a difference in that, don't they? They make an impact on when it comes to the quality education. You look at what has happened, since the high school had its renovations. You look at like the technology departments, the tech ed departments, and that can push the kids who want to get into the trades and such. They have opportunities there that they're not going to get it other places, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they reflect the value and the investment that not only the community's making, but also that the kids are feeling, you know, and then when they have quality experiences, you know, when you have a situation, if your students and children are going or visiting other experiences or other facilities, and they think that, you know, theirs is kind of a dump, okay, that doesn't really, you know, kind of fuel them to feel like what they're doing is really, you know, supported or important. So the fact that our community has been as generous and supportive as it has to help make sure that our kids, you know, have these key assets and experiences is really a high value reality for Beaver Dam. And our offerings, what we have is, I mean, I absolutely would say second to none. And Beaver Dam has had that tradition, and we've kept that and been able to enhance it. You know, we have over 160 different course offerings that our kids have access to throughout their high school experience. Now, you need 24 credits to graduate. That's kind of the standard traditional diploma experience. That's well above the state requirement, for the record, so people know that. And a lot of schools have their, you know, their requirements are above the state requirement. And then to have 160 different course offering opportunities, 44 of those are considered advanced courses. So between APs, dual credit experiences, I mean, our kids have so many opportunities to access kind of post-secondary level training and experiences, whether they're going tech school, whether they're going university. Last year alone, they earned over $400,000 in college credits. So our students at high school earned over $400,000 in value of college credits, and they didn't have to pay for the courses because we offered them right at Beaver Dam High School.
Ironically, you bring that up. I have a junior at the high school right now, and last night she kind of knows where she's gonna end up, you know, doing her education after. But talking with her counselor and stuff, and getting together. Well, you can take classes next year. He said that count as your college credit. You know, and it's amazing that you know you offer that and the wide variety of things that you can take.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and what's really neat too, and our kids can, you know, some of our kids will go directly to, like, while they're a Beaver Dam High School student, they might go directly to that university, or, you know, for us, it's really neat that we're basically direct neighbors to a very reputable technical college in MPTC. But many of our teachers are teaching those college level classes and experience that our kids are having success at. So pretty powerful that they can do that with teachers that they know, teachers that are also advisors, coaches they've had for other classes, and here they are taking those taking those classes. And I just want to reiterate, when we say $400,000 in college credits, we're not just talking about exclusive four-year university only type of college credits. We're talking about classes that transfer and that are part of a technical college experience. Well, that'll add value for students who are going into, you know, maybe a journeymanship in a particular trade. Those type of experiences, our kids are getting that foundation right at Beaver Dam, and then our community rewards it. So what's amazing too, you know, many years ago, decades ago, key founders in our community established the Beaver Dam High School Committee and then the Beaver Dam Scholarship Foundation. Between those two entities and a couple other private contributors, our seniors, you're a senior at Beaver Dam High School, you're going to have access to over $500,000 in local scholarships. So we're not talking about, you know, other ancillary scholarship opportunities that might present themselves in the region or throughout the state or associated with a particular field of study or a university. We're talking about Beaver Dam local scholarships, access to over $500,000. It's pretty awesome.
So I was going to ask you, if you're a grandparent or a parent listening to this right now, and maybe you have a junior, because realistically between junior and senior year is when you start applying for this stuff, for senior year, where do students have access to see what scholarships are available and looking for things to try and maybe fit into their what they've been doing, you know, across the community and at the high school?
Yeah, so for those local scholarships, all that information is right with our student services department. So the school does a great job of making sure that those, you know, that information is being communicated to students. So, you know, they do that through traditional announcements. Counselors are talking to students about those opportunities. The other thing is, you know, the high school for parents and family members, sometimes I get it, they're busy, they get a lot of information sent to them, but the high school sends out a great monthly newsletter information. It's got key information and details in that. Otherwise, they can look and see general information on the website, but all that's right there. And if they ever have a question, I always say just pick up the phone. It's becoming, unfortunately, a lost art, but it's such a great resource, great asset. Pick up the phone, call your child's counselor if you have a question about some of those opportunities, or better yet, if your kiddo's a senior, okay, at that point in time, it's a really good opportunity for them from a self-advocacy standpoint to just tell them, hey, talk to Miss Hill, talk to Miss DeZarn, talk to Mr. Wilkie, talk to the senior associate principal, right? If you have a question about that. But those scholarship opportunities, the information, the application, all those resources are right there in the Student Services Office. And we want kids to take full advantage because there's a lot out there, and it's great.
It is. You have to then you go back to the dual credit thing. Some kids you could knock out a semester or more of your college credits by just being able to take dual credits at the high school, correct?
Yeah, and we get it. All kids are different. Some kids on maybe on the higher scale then they might knock out a full year of college. We've seen that. More common might be closer to that semester.
Yeah, like a semester.
But that has real value. The other thing that it does is even if it's not gonna, maybe on paper it's gonna be like 18. Let's say a student earns 18 to 24 college credits, right? The one thing that it also does is it creates flexibility. And it allows for maybe a more successful transition into that next phase of their life because they've got more flexibility because they have some of that, kind of in their wheelhouse. They can apply that towards some electives. And then the experience becomes in that first year, that first semester becomes a little bit more review-esque, right? So that they're gonna build more confidence and feel more confident in their experience because they've already had exposure to that. So it's a really, really powerful opportunity that we offer in the classroom, and I think it's a significant differentiator in this region, the access that our kids have to that.
Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DeStefano on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Anything else at the high school you want to mention, Mark?
Yeah, just I think Mr. Gerber would be remiss if I didn't highlight this. The participation and engagement numbers are up again at Beaver Dam High School. So again, we know that connectivity, and I'm not talking about sports per se, right? I'm talking about the full Monty. I'm talking about clubs. We're talking about activities, right? Other extracurriculars as well as sports. But we're up a little bit over 4% again this year. So that means that for our student population, 988, 600 of them are actively involved in one formal extracurricular or organization directly associated with school. Many of those students are involved in more than one. Many of those students are also involved in other things outside of school, but we know the more busy our students are in quality structured experiences or settings, the more successful they're usually going to be in the classroom, because that's more connectivity with another adult, another mentor, another resource, somebody else who cares, somebody else who's keeping eyes. And the one thing that I want to remind our listeners to, because we know that there are some barriers for some students at times to participate. Two things I want to remind them of. Freshman year, if you have a student that's going to be a freshman, any high school experience, of course, I think ours is the best, but any high school experience, really make sure that child is involved in at least one experience their freshman year. Whatever it takes, get them involved in something, a club, some type of extracurricular activity, or a sport, at least one as a freshman. They need that. That's a key component to the success of that transition. And the second thing is, if there is a barrier, if you ever think there's a barrier, transportation, finances, otherwise, pick up the phone or talk to somebody. We have many ways we can remove that barrier. We don't want something that we can help with to get in the way of that. If your family for whatever reason has strong belief and is animately opposed to something like that, okay, we're going to respect that. But we want you to know that if you need help getting your child somewhere, we're going to help. If you need help paying for something, we're going to find a way to help pay for that. We want every child to be involved in some type of formal experience outside of the classroom, because we know it enhances the classroom experience.
All right, congratulations again to everybody at Beaver Dam High School for being named the School of the Month. You know, one of the things that is always on the forefront, Mark, in school district and stuff is safety and making sure you have healthy schools and such, and that's something, the district, you guys are always working hard to stay on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be the key priority, right? Kind of the grounding, foundational priority. Our goal Our goals with our students, what we have them is all geared around learning and academics, but you have to have a safe and healthy experience for kids to actualize, their potential. So as part of our continuous improvement effort, we've got 4 key accountability areas. One is learning and academics, one is finance, facilities, and operations. The other one is safe and healthy schools. And then the 4th one has to do with engagement and connectedness. So right now, kind of our gear up or thematic focus for this month is around safe and healthy schools. So we've already had some community engagement opportunity. We had great turnout last Thursday at the high school where we had staff there and we had multiple parents come through. It was awesome. We had a number of kids come through and provide us with some feedback on that. So there's different questions and experiences that we're seeking feedback, open-ended response opportunities. We use those experiences in those key accountability areas. Again, the focus is safe and healthy schools to help identify themes and different focus areas that then drive what will be a larger scale survey that goes out on that topic. So we've done that for both learning and academics, as well as the facilities, finance, and operations piece. Now we're in the safe and healthy schools time. We'll take that information. Our staff engagement is coming up this Monday. We'll take all that information, and then a larger survey will go out to get even a higher touch point based on that initial feedback from that in-person experience. And then we use that to help inform what our goals and our targets are going to be for next year. Regarding for this is specific to safe and healthy schools. So we're going to get specific feedback on what parents, families, community members are expecting, what they think our trends are, what opportunities they think we have to grow, and then we will identify measurable metrics that will be used to share with the community and as well for us to hold each other accountable towards achieving those new goals.
It's a big thing. Everybody's in this together, right? And open door policy and make sure everybody is aware of what's going involved. Having those sessions are great because then you do have an opportunity to kind of ask questions and face to face and learn a little bit something about maybe you heard this, you read this, and figure out what's going on. And if you have concerns, just tell right to your face, tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody's voice gets heard. All of the information and feedback we get from those sessions, whether it's a in-person engagement session, and I get it. Most people, we've gotten the feedback. Yeah. They prefer it, they prefer online, simple, easy survey, but there's nothing more powerful than people sitting down and having that conversation. But all that feedback, whether it's from an in-person engagement session or whether it's from a survey, goes in and becomes part of that context. So it's valuable, it's important. We've seen great turnout and return from the surveys, and we'll continue to use that again to reground our continuous improvement plan and focus. If people want to have an idea of how that's going to inform and what that accountability is going to look like, you go to our website and under our district tab, just click on strategic plan. And what they'll see right there is they're going to see what those key accountability areas look like. They're going to see key performance indicators, which are associated with the metrics. And they're going to have kind of this preview of what that experience and accountability is going to look like for us. And then our systems, as we scale that down, individual schools, individuals themselves will have essentially benchmarks and metrics that they'll use to inform whether or not they're making the progress that we want to achieve those goals as a system. So it helps create greater transparency, ownership, accountability, and it becomes easier then for the community to engage and understand how we're doing what we're doing. So we're not just waiting for one report or a report card one time a year. We can see it more live, more intimate, and easier to understand.
Great stuff. Mark Stefano from the Beaver Dam Unified School District is here on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Mark, again, there's so many different things we want to touch on here today. We have about 10 minutes left here. Where do you want to go to next?
Yeah, well, I want to talk a little bit about open enrollment.
Yes.
I think that's a great thing to talk about. So the open enrollment period, technically the traditional open enrollment period starts February 2nd. February 2nd. It runs through April 30th. And obviously, I mean, this is our show. There's a lot of great schools, a lot of great districts in the region. So, friends, colleagues, kudos to them. Really proud of what they do as well. I just think that our district has a really, really unique experience. And I think, if I had the means and the ability and I wasn't living in Beaver Dam, of course I do, right? I've chose to live, raise my family here. It's a great place. But through open enrollment, your child can have that experience too. And I know that the views and opinions that are expressed here aren't necessarily WBEVs, but I'm just telling you that take a close look. If you've got an elementary child and you want your child to go to one of the best top performing elementary schools in the state of Wisconsin, Beaver Dam's a great choice. Great opportunity for you to do that. We have space and opportunities at our elementary level, and if you want to stack up reading and math scores at the elementary level, Beaver Dam is an unbelievable performer in that area. So you've got award-winning schools, you got great leaders, and I think it's a great spot to consider.
How does, whether you're open enrolling as an incoming, say an incoming kindergarten,
Yeah.
how does that work? Say live in an outlying community.
Yep.
How does that work?
Sure.
What does a parent have to do if they're like, I think the Beaver Dam Unified School District is the place where I want my child educated? Because sometimes people, they know it's there, but they're not quite sure how to start.
Yeah, so a couple of things. I mean, people could just go online and fill out the form.
Okay.
Right? And certainly I think some people do that, and they might know somebody, right? Know somebody who knows somebody, and that might be enough. I would encourage, and I saw it more when I was in the kind of the Milwaukee suburb area. I was in Waukesha County for a number of years before I came to Beaver Dam 16 years ago. But, there, because every community was stacked on top of each other. Population density looks different. Everybody's 10 minutes away, in that area, every district. But one of the things that we saw a little bit more, for whatever reason, we don't see it as much, is we saw people that would come in and they'd want to take a tour. They'd want to walk and experience something. So I would encourage people to do that, or at least meet with somebody. Ask those questions that you want to ask. But I would encourage you to call my office for that, because I can help arrange that and make sure that you're getting kind of that full experience. You're getting all the paperwork that you need. You're getting all the questions answered that you need. If it's associated with a visit, you want to visit and see some things, we can help make that experience possible for you. But at the end of the day, they've got to meet the deadline for the application. And again, that traditional experience, that traditional timeline for open enrollment is February 2nd through April 30th. And I encourage people to take full advantage of that. It's a little bit more simple, streamlined. If for some reason something changes in somebody's experience, let's say they weren't thinking that they wanted to go to, one of our awesome elementaries or a high school that has more opportunities than any other high school in the region, right? Let's say that wasn't part of the picture, but all of a sudden it's May or it's June, and now they're thinking differently. There still is a separate open enrollment time period that's outside of that the state opens up. That they could also apply. But again, I would encourage people to have that conversation, reach out. And if I'm a parent, I'd want to check it out a little bit, or talk to some people that are in charge and ask some tough questions, because it's my child's future, it's my child's education, and that matters. But I can tell you that we've got space, and we're excited, and we really love it when we get the opportunity to engage with students that are open enrolling in. One of the things that's really exciting is those parents typically have a next level investment, because they're thinking, okay, I want them to go here because we know it's awesome, and they have to find a way to get them here. There's a next level. There's not a bus. The buses don't cross district boundaries. Right? So there's a next level of kind of investment and engagement too that we oftentimes see. So we're really excited about it. We tend to get good numbers. We'd like to see them even better. And there's so many great opportunities here, and we really encourage people to check them out.
So when somebody's open enrolling, I said, in the front end of an educational experience and not in the middle, can they request, fill out the form and request one of the elementary schools that that they prefer their child to go to? And is it one of those things where you look at numbers in the elementary school? Could it be like, well, I don't know if there's technically, quote, full, but how do they determine where a child would get placed in the elementary level?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. I'll probably run on a little bit of a tangent here, but we're really passionate about our class sizes, and we're unbelievably protective of our class sizes at the elementary level, because kids are learning to learn on top of that, right? And we know that, when you find that sweet spot, right, like 16, 18, 19, 20 is fine, but so the earlier levels, if you look at our class sizes, they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. So we like to keep that balance. And what we don't want is to have an experience where all of a sudden, like, second grade at Washington's got 25 and Prairie View, Jefferson, and Lincoln have 18. So there is some balance, right, to that we try to maintain. So when you're open enrolling in for a particular grade level, right, in the district. That said, you can always share if you have a preference. Keep in mind the balance is important to us as well. But logistical considerations, your preference might be, maybe, our district's 112 square miles, so the location can matter, maybe depending on where you're employed, convenience. Maybe there's grandparents that live next to Jefferson, right? But you and your child live, I don't know, in another community outside of Beaver Dam. So all those things, we want to take all those things into consideration, and to the extent possible, we want to honor that request. But the greater balance of the whole system does ultimately take some priority. But generally speaking, we've been able to accommodate most requests.
All right. So again, time is coming up, and just go to the website, or if you have any, you can email or call the ESC, and they'll lead you in the right direction over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times, especially, we see it a little bit more. We get a fair amount of open enrollment at the elementary and middle level, but at the high school level, especially incoming, freshmen, now's the time. This is a great opportunity. People might have questions about, what are the different clubs and activities, and we've got so many, but they might want to know. We've got a school profile that's out there for people to see about the high school, which was our school of the month this year. But those are great transition times for those experiences. We do get kids coming in as sophomores or juniors, but it's really awesome if they can start them as freshmen. And we want to get those questions answered, and we want to get an awesome schedule built. For your child too.
You talk about the opportunities at the high school, the school of the month, because I always like it. The incoming freshmen, they always have multiple events, but there's always one event where they have kind of a tour, but then they have all the clubs and organizations are in the commons.
Yep.
And it's almost like it's like a job fair, like a giant craft fair, because there are so many tables and things that you never knew were opportunities as an extracurricular.
Yep.
That it's like unbelievable.
Yeah, there's tons because I think when I check the numbers, there's 30 different clubs and activities alone, and then you throw on another 24 athletic teams. So there's a whole lot of opportunity, and then you throw on all the different advanced course opportunities that we have. There's something for everybody. And going back to that class size piece, we know that our systems, like, again, in Dodge County, it might feel like big because high school of 1,000, wow, but your class sizes are still unbelievable, right? So there's still intimate learning experience. Our counselor ratios are still unbelievable, right? Our staff is outstanding. So your child's not going to get lost in that experience. And our elementary schools, our biggest elementary school is 3 sections. That's not big. We have 4 elementary schools. They're 3-section elementary schools and 1 2-section elementary schools. So there's a lot of intimacy and connectedness that's built into our system, even though the larger system might be bigger, but that offers us a scale of opportunity that others can't, and we encourage people to consider that.
Yeah, and lots to celebrate in the Beaver Dam Unified School District.
A lot of good stuff going on in Beaver Dam as a whole, and I hope that people, keep that positive vibe going. Lots that we can work on. Everybody can. Nobody's perfect, but a lot to celebrate. One thing that they can celebrate is a Wall of Fame. We got a great Wall of Fame. The window for people to nominate somebody is open. There's information on the website for that. Deadline's March, and if they have any questions about our Wall of Fame honoring outstanding alumni and other friends of education, then call the district office, ask for Mary Postuma. She is the expert.
Awesome stuff. Mark DiStefano, Superintendent of the Beaver Dam Unified School District. It's always a pleasure, and maybe we'll see you eating some pasta tonight, pasta with a purpose.
Yep, we are. I'm taking my real boss, and we're going to go get some pasta early. Got another meeting tonight, but I'm going to go get some pasta, get some fuel.
I'll be there at 4:30, right on the button. Maybe I'll be the first in line and you'll be the second, or vice versa.
It might be close.
All right, this is Let's Talk with Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DeStefano on Daily Dodge TV and 95.3 WBEV. Have a great Thursday, everybody.
Go Beavers.
All right.